Welcome to another episode of African Guy Poorcast podcast. I have another guest with me. She's a stand-up comedian in Des Moines, Iowa. She's really funny. Hannah Tighe.
Hi! Thanks for having me.
Thank you so much for coming.
Yeah, of course.
Every time I try to start one, trying to start one smooth, I fail. So I would just get right into it.
Dive right in.
You were born in Iowa?
Yes, born and raised in Iowa. I actually lived in Sheraton, Iowa for a while, which is like this total podunk town. But my dad worked for Tighe Corporate, and that's where their headquarters were. And then I moved to Indianola, which is 20 minutes south of Des Moines. So that's where I grew up.
Were you farming or small town or?
Oh no, not at all. All of my classmates were, but no, my dad worked in corporate. My mom was a stay-at-home mom, and she played the piano and organ for our church. And so yeah, now that I think about it, I don't even know if I've been on a tractor. Yeah, I don't think I have. That's weird.
You grew up through middle school. Were you a weird kid, odd kid?
I've always been a weird kid, but I always had a big circle of friends. I always had a lot of friends. I wasn't I was a late bloomer. I was kind of chubby in middle school, and I had glasses, but I was still cool, but I was just not cute at all. I knew where I stood. So yeah.
So were you always the funny kid, or you had always made your friends laugh?
Yeah, I was always the loud class clown. I was always the girl who the teachers would have to move around to sit next to the quiet kids, but then I'd get the quiet kids riled up. They'd start chatting about it. We just don't know what to do with her. In preschool, I had my own timeout chair. I had my own, there's the classroom timeout chair, and then there's Hannah's timeout chair, and I'd get sent to it, or sometimes I'd know that I'd screwed up, and I would just walk over to it and just well, here I am. So yeah.
Did you have a late start in comedy, or did you discover it early?
Well, I grew up watching a lot of Saturday Night Live. I remember watching it in first grade, and I know that that's such a cliche, but I watched Saturday Night Live all of the time, and I watched, it's not a popular opinion, but I was a huge fan of Jay Leno. I loved Jay Leno, and I would listen to his stand-up, his monologues, and I would try and make my stories punchier, as a second grader. But I didn't start doing stand-up until last year, and I was doing improv before.
2015.
Yes, yeah, 2015. But for what it's worth, I was voted best comedian of the class of 2007 and most likely to host a talk show. So I've always been, I don't know, I guess I've always just been a goofball type thing.
Yeah, I always every time I talk to a comedian or somebody they always never I was always quiet. I never they're always I was kind of funny some places.
Right. Yeah, I was always the loudmouth. I remember I would just love to make my friends laugh, and if I could get my teachers laughing too, I would just beat it to death. I would just try so hard, and then I got sent to the principal's office twice in first grade because I was mouthing off and thought I was funny. And, yeah.
I like your style of stand up. I don't want to say it's dry, but it's you're in character. You say when you're telling a story, you're in the character, and then you act out. I don't know. I can't explain it, but it's very I'm listening to the story. You're telling the story instead of I'm waiting for the joke. I'm she's telling the story.
Thank you. I think a lot of times before I started really trying hard, I guess I okay, I need to find a punchline. Like, I need to get a thing, because I didn't know if I was just like the funny one at brunch or something out of my friends. You know, and I was just like shooting shit with my friends. And I was like, okay, I need to find a joke somewhere in that. So yeah, thank you.
So before you did stand-up comedy, how long you did improv?
Oh boy, I went through I did it at Last Laugh, so I did A, B, and C. So 6 months or 3 months or however long it is to take it. But
so what made you want to do stand-up comedy?
I was taking improv, and I wasn't like good at improv. Like, I was always like the secondary character making the other person funny, and I didn't really think I was great. And I had been listening to a ton of stand-up at work. I would just like, that was all I would do. I would listen to hours and hours and hours of stand-up. And then, you know, a lot of times my friends would be like, oh, you should do stand-up. And I was like, no, I don't think so. I don't think I could do it. And then I realized that I was really just terrible at improv. I was like, how can I like make this good? And I was actually, I was arrested earlier that year. And so I was on probation, and like I couldn't drink. And
oh man.
Yeah. And I was talking to a friend, and he was like, Hannah, you know, you need to like take advantage of your talent. And I was like, what talent? Like, what do I have? He was like, try stand up. And I was like, I don't know. And so I emailed my improv coach, and I was like, Josh Chamberlain, and I was like, hey, I think I want to try a stand up. I think I want to do it. And he's like, yeah, you'd be perfect at it. And I was like, what? And so he put me in touch with Mike Kitzman, and I actually like went and met with him, and I brought like a Padfolio to like take notes. And I was like, yes, I'm gonna learn a lot from this. This is gonna be like I was like so into it. I was like sweating before. Like, I remember sitting in my car and just like pitting out and be like, oh my god. Like and he told me, he's like, well, stand-ups, you know, like they usually have stuff go wrong in their life, and then they like talk about it. And I was like, oh yeah, I mean, I've got that. Like, my boyfriend broke up with me because he cheated on me after 5 years. I was arrested twice. My grandma died. I got fired from my first job. And he's like, what? I was like, yeah, this was in the last year. And he's like, oh shit. And so then he's like, take that and make it funny. And I was like, okay. And so I talked about when so I went and watched an open mic. And it was a different crowd than this year. Like, it was new people and same faces too. And I listened to like everybody's set, and then that night I went home and just started writing, and I wrote like all week like a mad woman, like, and all these like crazy ideas. And I wake up in the middle of the night and write shit down, and then I practiced it like 4 times, and I talked about the first time I got arrested, how I was wearing a Wu-Tang Clan t-shirt. And Mike told me before, he's like, you're gonna bomb your first time, and you're just gonna have to deal with it. Like, everybody sucks their first time. And I was thinking like, no, I'm not gonna do that. Like, I just won't let myself. And I went up and I like killed it. And it was so cool. And I just remember thinking like, wow, this is totally something that I should be doing. Okay. And like, I couldn't stop smiling for like a week. And then that's the only thing I've been like committed to like the past year.
Man, I feel you on the improv thing. Like, I see it and I'm like, I can't do that. Cause like,
yeah,
if somebody hits at me with an idea and I have nothing in mind, I'll just be like.
See, I feel like you would be a good improver, because you like the point of improv is like to think of the opposite of what someone would think, you know. And you always come up with like the funniest shit on stage. I think you would bring a lot to the table, to the improv table. Have you taken improv?
No.
No, I think you should maybe try it out. Try one of the games on a Thursday.
See, it's so weird. Like I get nervous for improv, but I'll never get nervous for just like.
Yeah, I was the same way. Like I would get up on stage and be like, how do I move my body? Like I would like forget how to do anything with improv, and then with stand up, I'm just like, I'm gonna word vomit everywhere, and I'll find myself in some point.
So when you first started, like you said, you talked about the first time you got arrested. By the way, the last person I ever expected to say I got arrested.
Yeah. It was a big mess.
So, like, did you have like a whole set, or did you like memorize word for word?
So I wrote like a couple different sets, and when I figured out the one that I liked, I would like get up from work. Like I'd like be sitting and typing at my desk and like, all right, now it's time to go practice. And I'd like go in a and I conference room and like try out a bit. And I like thought of stuff and I'd write that down, add it in. And then the day of the open mic, I remember I was just so nervous and I was like sweating all day. I sweat a lot. And so I wrote down everything and I went and I ran. I was like, I'm like a border collie. Like if I'm not like moving, I'm like anxious. And so I was like, I gotta run. So I went and ran like 5 miles that day. I was like, just running on a trail, like gotta be funny tonight. And then I practiced my thing like one more time and I had a whiskey and water on probation and went up and did it. And I've never like done that set again. That was kind of like my golden goose set.
For me, same thing. My first time, like I just was like, okay, I didn't write anything down. I was just like, I'm gonna go talk about what it's like to be here.
Yeah.
And I was like, like every joke, like it seemed natural. Like
yeah.
Yeah.
Well, before I came here, I was telling my friend, I was like, this dude just comes up and says shit, and it's the funniest stuff ever. And I told him, I was like, the one where he was like, when that kid came up to you, he was like, you're really black, and you're like, your parents are divorced. Like, every time you tell that, I'm like, oh my god. That's like my favorite. That gets you. My parents aren't even divorced, and it's still like, dang.
Speaking of favorite jokes, one of my favorite jokes of yours that I like a lot is the with the girl with the handguns. I go, oh, what? Yeah, it's true. Like that really happened, and because like my mom is like this cute little thing, and actually. I'll over-exaggerate a little bit. She can't kick me because she's in a wheelchair. But anyway, so she teaches this homeschooled girl, and the girl is like plain as can be, right? And she like dresses weird, like homeschooled, like lots of denim, you know, and that skirt's been like in the family. Yeah, she just pulled out handguns. Like my dad was cooking in the kitchen and he's like a man's man and like he hears this like the thud of a handgun and like instantly like his ears perk up and he's like, what? And they start talking about handguns and I'm sitting here like, what the hell? Like no one thinks this is weird. Like, and she just has 2 handguns. She's like a pioneer woman. Yeah. Thank you. I saw her on Easter, actually. She played the organ for church, and I was like, I feel like she looks like a Charles Manson girl.
Kind of? Oh my god, yeah! Like, yeah, like no makeup and like long, kind of stringy hair. Yeah.
Oh man.
Kinda.
So when you were a kid, like your parents, like were you raised like sheltered or religious or?
So I've referenced church twice. I'm not religious. I grew up with my mom being the church organist, and so we'd go like every Sunday, and that was just kind of what we knew. And I actually I went to Bible school and stuff, and like I loved it, right? And I was like, I'm gonna be a church camp counselor. And I was like, I think I'm gonna drink a lot. Not when I was little, but yeah, I wasn't necessarily sheltered. Like I knew like everything. We were one of the first people on our block to like have the internet and stuff, and like AOL, and like when that came out I was like all about the chat rooms. Like I was like 18F Cali you, and I was like 9 in Iowa. Yeah, but I don't know, like I wasn't like a weird church girl, if that's what you're asking. Did you think that was the case?
I get that vibe of like abstinence or like all that like.
Oh no. Like my parents, I knew what that was. Like I knew too much about it, and they'd like, Hannah, quit telling your friends where babies are from. Like, because I'd like tell my friends at recess, I'd like, hey guys, you know what sperm is? Yeah, I was that friend.
Yeah, shout out to parents who educate their kids on sexual education. Like, I got zero that. Like,
really?
Yeah, zero.
Your parents didn't tell you?
No.
Like, they're just like, you just showed up.
I was like...
Shook your dad's hand. Hello?
Yeah, it's like, it's so weird. Like, and then I came to America in like 6th, 7th grade, and they had the sexual education class. And I was like.
Did you watch the movie? Like, we called it the movie in elementary school, and like some kids like weren't allowed to watch it. That like talked about bodies changing, and like the girls would have to go in one and watch the girl movie, and the boys would go in the other and watch the boy movie. Did you do that?
Yep.
Yeah. I remember when we did it. It was in 4th grade, and then in 5th grade we watched like a more advanced version of the movie. And I had a 5th grade teacher, and I actually like had a crush on him.
Yeah.
Because I mean, he was a 5th grade teacher. Like he wasn't anything to write home about. But anyway, and I remember every time I had to go to the bathroom, I'd be like, he thinks I'm on my period. Like every time I asked, and so I'd like make it a point. I'd be like, I'm not on my period, and he's like, you've got to quit telling me that. Like you're being weird. Like I wish you wouldn't have seen the movie.
Yeah, it's so like after I got the like culture shock, like it was even more culture shock. I'm like, oh, you guys talk about this normally, and I go home and I try to talk about it. Like mom would like, no, that's not acceptable.
Huh. So this might be. Is it most like? Do you think your parents or like people over in Africa only do it for like making babies?
Yes.
Really?
And there's no like abortion stuff that's kind of like on the sketch that like you can't do that at all. Huh. Yeah, there's no like sexual education, like none.
It just happens.
Yeah.
And then you just like, so like what if a young girl got pregnant?
She got pregnant.
She's just like, like does she have to put it together on her own? Like what happened?
Well, like I don't know. Like I guess from your you learn from your family. Like say if you're a young kid and like your mom has a baby and you be like you put things together. You
have to learn on your own. See, I was a very inquisitive child, so I would have had a lot of questions.
So like after you said you've been doing stand-up for a year, through like, would you say like you've gotten like better, or is it like the same like when you started out?
Oh, I have definitely I've improved. I think I was told earlier on that like you could tell that I was like kind of fluttery on stage. I'd get like nervous, and I'd get off track easier. And now I think I'm better at like reading the crowd and like knowing which set to use and like not to use, and what jokes work and not. But yeah, I mean, I still bomb all the time. Like that's part of it. But yeah, I think I still just go in like with a big smile and then like just keep smiling even if I suck. So
it's weird, like when you like I've bombed before, and it's a weird experience because like I see other people bomb and like they keep going on with their set. I want to leave. Like,
and you do leave. You're done. Like you're like, well.
Do you feel the same way? Like if I'm bombing, like do I stay and try to convince these people I'm funny, or do I keep going?
It depends on when I bomb. If I bomb like right away, I'm like, okay, there's got to be like one joke in here. Like I can get one laugh, and but I mean, yeah, I kind of know when to cut it off. Sometimes I blab too much like I'm doing now. But I try and like find one joke, and if it doesn't hit, then I'm like, all right, thanks. And then I think I learn more from bombing than I do when I do really well.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah. And so like you write something down, you're like, okay, this is the funniest thing I ever wrote in my life. And then you say it like, nah, man.
Oh my god, yeah. And you like say it and you like laugh to yourself and you're like, this is how I'm gonna say it. And then you say it and everyone's like, get out. like every time I do that, I'm like, and that's the day Hannah Tighe quit comedy. Like that's the day it all stopped.
Yeah, I've learned to be I've learned to not to react whether it's hilarious or it's not funny. Or there are some comics who definitely react and they're like, well, you guys suck. They're like, that's a fucking funny joke, you should laugh. And it's like, no, don't try and justify it. Like, you're only hurting yourself. And so I'll be like, welp, I thought it was funny. And then I move on or something. You know, I don't like try and make it work any more than it didn't already, you know, so. It's so hard to get like that sense of humor through.
Mm-hmm.
Like somebody's not laughing. It's like because they don't get the sense of humor or they don't get the joke. Right, and you can be funny in a ton of different crowds, and then you hit your one crowd, and you're just like, shit. Nothing I've ever written is ever funny ever. Like I don't know. I did a show with Josh Novi, and we went to Tighe, Iowa, which has Meskwaki Casino and like lots of like labor men and stuff. And I was in the show, and it was and I opened. I was like the MC, and Willie Farrell was in it. And I like had this set written, and I kind of like switched it up. Like, okay, what jokes do my parents think are funny? You know, I told the gun joke too. I told the gun joke. I was like, they'll like this. They probably have guns. I bombed so hard, and it was like I was standing up there, and then I heard a really familiar laugh, and I was like, what? And my friends came from out of town. They drove like an hour and a half to come see the show, and they didn't tell me. They surprised me, and I was like, God damn it! If I knew that they would have been in town, like I would have rewritten a whole like completely different set just for them to get them laughing instead of trying to get these like farmers to like me. They did not like me like at all. Oh man, I just I've said this before on stage. I want to have a meltdown, like I already like cussing, like. I don't know, I think it's just so funny. Yeah. Yeah. I had one. You should just like bring food up and just start throwing like one goldfish at like each person and like shoot for people in the crowd and just not say anything. Yeah, like I was trying to like do weird stuff like bring food or like sit down or eat. Like have you ever done stuff like that? No. I think like the most I've ever brought up was like a really high blood alcohol level. Like, yeah, like you were talking about like I had one. And it was, so, like, things were going really well for me, and I, like, had this book club, and it's on Tuesdays, it's the first Tuesday of every month, and, like, we legit read the book. Like, we read the book, and then we meet, like, a month later and, like, sit and talk about it, and we go to Django, and you can bring your own wine, and that particular month, like, I happen to, like, remember, and I brought my bottle of wine, and one of my girlfriends in it was like, oh, yeah, did you know that Clint and your ex, and
his fiance bought a house, and like it was like as I was pouring the glass, I was like, what? And she's like, yeah, and I was just like, sweet, and I just like drank the whole glass like as I'm like still pouring it, and I got so wasted. Like I'm pretty certain like Sarah had to like dress me, and I like went on stage and I had a meltdown. Like, and I don't even know what I said. Like I think I was like talking about like how I wanted love, and I like was kind of like crying. I was like, no, I'm scared. Like, yeah, it was bad. It was real bad. Don't do that.
Yeah, you've been doing this for a year, and you already had a couple shows, and throughout your shows, like what's the best show you had?
Best show for sure was my dope show, my rap show that I was in. Absolutely, like hands down the best show. Yeah, that was really cool.
And how long of a set did you do?
Oh man, I think I was supposed to do 10, but I think I must have done like 15. I went way over without knowing, but that's because I was just like, I'm doing so well, and my friends are all here, and I don't know how long I talked. It could have been 35 minutes. It wasn't 35 minutes, but like, that was definitely my best show. Yeah, it was a cool one.
The time period, I think I did 7 minutes one time, and I'm like, oh shit, like you really have to have material to get like 20 minutes. That's like a lot of material.
Yeah 20 minutes. I don't know if I've ever gone 20 minutes intentionally. I don't know. Yeah, 20 minutes is a long time.
Yeah, and it's like when you have the material and you say it, and there's the time left, and I hate going off the top of my mind. Like I don't like it, so like I think that's why I just like leave.
Yeah.
I don't wanna...
Well, and that's fine. You know, I think that's great because sometimes people like, you know, we were talking about like dying up there and like struggling. Like people do that. They're like, oh shit, like I still have 3 minutes to fill. Like I've got to fill it. Like no, you don't. Like please leave. Like I've done that so many times. Where I'm like, oh, all right, well. That's it. And so like and I think that's better than like trying so hard to dig things up, you know.
Yeah. Well, I completely switched topic. I think you're a cool adult because like you had experiences. Like you don't seem one of those like I gotta do, like I don't know, like a preppy person. Like I gotta do this. Like you seem like cool. Like
chill.
Yeah. So like through your teenage years to adult life, like would you say like your personality changed a lot, or like same person?
Oh yeah. Oh my god, yeah. Like in high school, actually my mom told me this, from 11 to 18 she never liked me.
Oh,
but she always loved me. My mom is the only one to call me a bitch to my face. Like, I'm sure somebody's called me a bitch, but like my mom is the only one who's been like, you're being a bitch. Like I've never been called like mean to my face. I don't know, people always say it, but like loud, annoying, like crazy, drunk. Yeah, all of that. Like, all of that. But after high school, I lived a year in Germany. And I was an au pair, so I was like a nanny for a German family. And I think that helped kind of balance me out. Like I was still crazy over there, I still had a lot of fun. But I think had I gone right from high school into college, I would have just been a complete asshole, you know. And I don't know. I don't think